Well, hello there, and welcome back to my kitchen. Summertime is here again, and if you're hungry guys or anything like mine, they'll want something hearty so they have all the energy they need to do so many fun things like going outside and sports and waiting for me to bring them a beer. It's just going to be the best summer ever. And if you want a meal that they're going to absolutely go gaga over, you're going to need to make my rack of rib dinner with mashed potatoes and green beans. Come on down to the kitchen, get yourself in the mood. 'Cause when Britt gets to cooking, you're in for some good food. Yeah! What you're going to need for this recipe is, of course, your rack of ribs. I'm using my pork spare ribs because they're just so tender and delicious. You'll also need about a pound or two of russet potatoes, 1 to 2 sticks of butter. I'm using about 1 3/4, closer to the 2 stick mark, so I can really butter up my hungry guys. Also need about a cup of sour cream and salt and pepper to taste. I'll be using a dry rub, for my ribs, and I'm using this salt-free garlic and herb mixture, tried and true. You'll also need some sort of cooking oil. I'm using extra virgin olive oil. And of course, can't let them go without their greens. I'm just using a good old bag of frozen green beans. Let's apron up and get started. First things first, you're going to preheat your oven to 425 degrees. Then you're going to slick up your baking sheet, which I'm sure you've already lined with some aluminum foil, with just a little drizzle of your extra virgin olive oil. And just slide it around the pan. You can always get fancy and brush it on there with one of those, glazing brushes or what have you, but I'm just gonna slick it on with the meat anyways, so I'm not gonna get too overbearing with it. No hungry guy likes an overbearing housewifey. Now we're just cutting the edge of the plastic of our ribs so we can slide them right onto the pan. Now, something many people will forget is to peel off the membrane. It's very thin and very tough off the back of your ribs. Now, I do tend to struggle with this a little bit, so if you don't have a strong, handy man to pull this off the back for you, you can simply cut some lines in between each rib and deal with it later when they complain about the ribs being just a little too tough. Make sure you wash your scissors very well after you cut with raw meat. The last thing you want is your hungry guys getting sick when you cut your vegetables with this later. Now, this is the part where I probably should recommend some measurements, but when it comes to meat, I truly don't believe you can over-season it. So I'm just going to generously sprinkle on my dry seasoning here and rub it in as I go. Now, I suppose if we want to get, pedantic with it, if you have just a pile of seasoning, like say I just do that and leave it, that may be a little bit too much seasoning. But that is why we're rubbing it around. We're going to flip it. And do the same thing. To cook our ribs, we're going to pop them into our preheated oven for around 2 to 3 hours, just however long it takes for the meat to get fully cooked through and be so tender that the bones just pull right out. Before we do that, we do want them nice and tender and to retain as much moisture as possible. So to do that, I'm taking even more tin foil and tightly wrapping our ribs in the foil. I'm not too afraid of the ribs themselves edging over the pan because you can just secure it with your foil. Another thing you'll want to do to get that moisture really retained is get a little dish, something like this, that's of course oven safe. Fill it with water and place it on the lower rack under your ribs. That way you're baking and steaming at the same time. Wow, that was so much work, but we're not done yet. For mashed potatoes, you're going to clean off those russet potatoes you put aside. You can peel them if you like, but I'm a girly who likes the skins left on her potatoes. And then you're providing some extra fiber for your hungry guys. So we're going to cut these potatoes into chunks. You can cut them in half, then cut each half into fourths like I'm doing. Then just plop them into your pan. Next, we're going to cover these in water, basically up until just about to the rim, and place them on the stove on a medium heat and let them boil and cook until they're fork tender. Basically when you poke them with a fork and they slide right off. As the potatoes cook, you will likely want to disturb them slightly with the spoon as you go, just so that the potatoes don't scald the bottom of the pan. Yeah. See how these potatoes are just falling apart and falling off the fork? That's what we want for our hungry guys. I'm going to turn the heat off and strain our potatoes, okay? Actually, we're going to strain our potatoes and plop them right into our mixing bowl. Ooh, here we go. Wonderful. Now you have to be very careful. It's going to be very hot. Now, this is the part my mama used to do by hand, but thankfully I have the advent of technology. Ooh. So I'm going to go ahead and put my mixing bowl right into my stand mixer. Put on my attachment and press it down. What we're going to do here is like a pre-mixing step. So we're going to put it on medium speed for like 10 seconds. Perfect. Now it might be a lot of potatoes, but that's okay because the more potatoes, that means the better we're going to feed our hungry guys. And here we're going to go ahead and throw in both of our sticks of butter. Don't worry if they're not melted. The heat from the potatoes is going to incorporate the butter beautifully. Cover it up. Just with anything you'll use with a stand mixer, don't be afraid to squish in and scrape down the bowl as needed. And we're going to mix that on medium to high speed until the potatoes are really nice and creamy. Ooh. We're getting there. Just need to keep on scraping and mixing until there are no more potato clumps and it's just one big creamy, delicious mashed potato. And don't be afraid at this point to add your sour cream either. Alternatively, you can also use a block of cream cheese. That kind of just adds a bit more density to your potato. Ooh, look at that lovely texture. Last but certainly not least, we're going to scrape down the bowl one more time, just a little bit. By this point, you really shouldn't need to all that much. And we're going to throw in some salt and pepper to taste. We're going to give it one more mix. Let me do a little taste test. Oh yeah, that is going to be so good for my hungry guys. Alright, I just checked the ribs. We have about an hour left on them. They're coming along beautifully. You've got your potatoes done. An hour left on your main course. And lastly, we just need to steam up some green beans. What we're going to do here is plop them in the pot, cover them in water, and put the lid on. Just steam them up until they're not frozen and they're nice and tender. Time to strain these bad boys and then doll them up. I mean, you can, if you want, feed your hungry guys some plain old vegetables, but they'll really appreciate you going that extra mile. Dolling up these green beans is super duper easy. You're just gonna need some salt, some pepper, and of course, your trusty stick of butter. First, we're going to stir in very gently our stick of butter. These might be slightly overdone, so if you don't want them so mushy or you want them a bit more tender, just add some less water and make sure there's some better ventilation for your green beans. going to go in and check on the ribs. Ooh, now these are starting to look very good. You can pretty much guess that they're done if that bone is nice and bleached white, but we're still going to just cut on the inside here. Oh, those are so tender. They're falling right apart. I think it's safe to say I can pull these out now. Don't those look and smell just amazing? Oh my goodness. But you can't serve this to your hungry guys like this. I mean, he may be a man's man, but he's not a caveman. Now, for this final step before we do a little taste test, I'm going to show you how to properly plate this for your hungry guy. First and foremost, we're going to cut off his meat. I usually cut off at least 3 bones worth to start. Nice big old slab of rib right there. You can serve it upside down so that it fits better. And we'll take our beans, give them a nice healthy scoopful. And last but certainly not least, a healthy scoop of potato. It's all about the meat and potatoes. And there you have it, a perfect meal for your perfect hungry guy. And of course, make yourself some too. It's time for a taste test. You don't expect to serve your hungry guy without making sure that everything's delicious and well cooked, do you? We're going to start with the pièce de résistance. Our rib meat. Oh, that is falling right off the bone. I don't know if you saw that. I really hope you did, but that is some tender, juicy meat right here. So these were in the oven for about an hour and 40-ish minutes. Not quite the full 2 hours. If I'd left them in the full 2 hours, they might have been too dry. But those are so tender, juicy, and that seasoning, if you need a little extra flavor, don't be afraid to pair it with your favorite barbecue sauce. Especially your hungry guy will appreciate it. Ooh, creamy, delicious. That is a perfect mashed potato if I ever tasted one. If you want a little bit more oomph, a little bit more creamy flavor, add heavy whipping cream or some milk in there. But just butter, salt, and pepper, a little bit of sour cream, that's the good stuff right there. And of course, our veg. Now personally, I do think I cooked these a little too long. Personally, I prefer my green beans a little more steamed and crunchy than the boiled chewy texture. But if you're about it, as a lot of people are, especially down in the good old South, these are the perfect little green beans. Oh, just make sure you have some salt and pepper on standby, just in case. But I want to know if you're going to make this at home and which hungry guys in your life are going to appreciate it the most. Let me know on all of my socials, which can be found at BrittRachelle.com or BrittRachelle.card.co. Heck, catch me on a live stream. You can let me know live what you want to see me cook next. And until next time, thank you so much for watching and stay peachy. Here you go. Dinner fresh and hot and delicious for my hungry guys.
Where's the get more ribs?
What?
Where's the gravy?
Great. I didn't make
Where's
it.
the mashed potato?
These green beans are soft.
I didn't.
Why does he get less rib?
Yeah, where's my ribs?
Where's my ribs? Where's no barbecue sauce?
Oh my god, there's no barbecue sauce?
Jesus Christ, woman, where's the beer?
I'm going to Burger King.
We're going to Burger King. Alright, Burger King.
Tune in next week when I feed my